Welcome to Two Tubes Exam Tips for Teens, and I'm joined by a very special guest here in studio, a young lady who managed to actually get the elusive 600 points. Katie Hewitt, you're very welcome.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very good, and you're very good for coming in. You're going to share with us some of your wisdom.
Yeah, delighted to be here.
And your own sister, she's studying for her Leaving Cert right now, isn't she?
She is at the moment, yeah, she's home right now studying.
So what are the main tips that you kind of said to her that she needs to focus on?
Okay, so basically I don't want her locking herself in her room and not doing anything but studying the whole time, but basically it is getting very close and there's not too much time left. So what I'm telling her is just to use her time as best she can, make sure that she has a lot of different resources she can use. There's some internet, YouTube that's really good. She's also using the Macbeth and Monaghan for her English, and she has some things recorded for her Irish poetry. So basically just not just to read the books, but also to use a few different resources.
And that's really handy as well, because if you're on the bus, you can be listening to a podcast, or you can be like downloading and watching tutorials online. When I was in school, we didn't have those kinds of things, so that's really cool.
It's really
and what's interesting about you as well, I mean, you didn't get the 600 points the first time around, you had to
not
do it a
that
second
clever.
time. So what did you kind of do differently the second time around?
So basically I just think the first time I didn't really have the right strategy when I was going into it, so maybe I got a little bit bogged down with stuff and I thought, no, I can't do it. What I would say to people is just to make sure that you stick to your strengths. So whichever your best subjects are, you really know that you have to put the effort into those, because they're the ones that you're going to count for your points. So not to worry about the one that maybe if you're doing an ordinary level subject, you're not going to count it. All you need to do is really pass that one and work on the ones that are going to give you the points. And
was it a hard choice to make that decision to go back and do it again?
Yeah, it was hard, but I really wanted to, I did well the first year, but I really wanted to study medicine, so I went back to go again.
How many points were you short the first time?
5 points short.
5 points short! Oh my goodness. And what do you do the night before the exam? That's the kind of, because we're getting close to it now, everyone's like, what am I going to do the night before? How do you study?
So really what I did was I had flashcards that I used. So I keep it really short. I might have one word on one side of a flashcard, the other side I just have a definition, and I could test myself the whole time. So I'd look at the word, then I'd make sure I got the definition, flip it over.
And throughout the year, I mean, did you literally study non-stop all day long?
No, I put a lot of work in. I did really put a lot of work in. I stayed into night studying and everything like that. But I had a job as well. I did go out with my friends. I'd say maybe at this stage you start really knuckling down and doing a lot of work, but throughout the year, you know.
And is there a technique to answering questions in the exam?
Yes, there is. Really what I thought the best resource I could possibly have was the exam papers and the marking schemes that you can get online at examinations.ie. So I would do an exam paper, and then after I'd done it, I'd go to the marking scheme, because there's no point in doing it if you don't know if you're right or wrong.
Exactly, yeah.
So they basically tell you what points you would have gotten, and there might be just one word. If you leave that word out, you won't get it. So by getting very familiar with what they want from you, then you can really maximise your answers.
What a lot of people do as well, they'll kind of come up with a poem or some kind of rhyme to remember quotes, that kind of thing. Did you do that?
Yeah, I did it. I actually really, it's very hard to learn reams and reams off. So what I used to do was to put it like related to something personal. So like me and my friends used to have rhymes about whatever gossip we had going on, you know, that kind of way. So I think that's the best way to remember.
And when you go into exam, is that the first thing you do? Like write down the quotes, write down the formulas?
Yeah, well obviously if you're going to have things in your log table. So not everything you have to remember off by heart, but if there is one or two that you just look at right the second before you go in, jot it down when you get in. It's the easiest thing. And like right up until the second before, you can always learn something new, so keep.
And did you find yourself during any exam getting really stressed out, and did you have to kind of think, okay, calm down?
Yeah, I really did. I found in the maths paper, it was just a really, really difficult year for maths, and I had a little bit of a breakdown, a little bit of a freaker. Looked at the paper and it wasn't what I expected to see coming up. So I actually had to leave the room. I was crying. I was
really?
Yeah, I
was.
No. But the best thing I could do was just to come back in afterwards. You know, like if you feel yourself, just go do a different question. Stick to your strengths. Do the questions you can do on like a best question next basis, and leave the hard ones till the end.
Yeah. And well, listen, you're an absolute inspiration. Going back a second time is always really hard, but thank you so much for coming in today, sharing all of your amazing advice, and best luck to everybody who's just about to go into their exams.